Ironically, but unsurprisingly, Donald Trump is now declaring war on anyone who doesn't think he deserved the Nobel Peace Prize, which is pretty funny because, Donald, you didn't deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. We don't even need to look at the foreign policy actions. Look at the domestic policy. Donald Trump started his administration by not only encouraging, but literally excusing political violence with 1,500 pardons for cop-beating insurrectionists. And Donald Trump has only carried out political violence at home even more. It doesn't really seem like a lot of peace to me, and it doesn't seem like deserving of a peace prize to anyone else, especially President Zelenskyy, who had a little fun with Donald Trump's loss when he was asked about it, as every world leader has been. And oh yeah, Donald Trump is not very happy. We're going to get into it all, but before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we get into what Zelenskyy said that has Donald Trump so upset, I want to start with how Donald Trump responded to losing the Nobel Peace Prize, of course, making it about himself.
The person who actually got the Nobel Prize called me and said, I'm accepting this in honor of you because you really deserved it. That a very nice thing to do. I didn't say then give it to me though. I think she might have. She was very nice, and I've been helping her along the way. They need a lot of help in Venezuela. It's a basic disaster. So, and you could also say it was given out for 24, and I was running for office in 24. All of the transactions that we did in terms of closing, but. There are those that say we did so much that they should have done it, but I don't take. I'm happy because I saved millions of lives. Many.
Has he ever spent a singular moment not talking about or thinking about himself? It was truly one of the most embarrassing displays of like the high level, my girlfriend goes to another school, which is in Canada, that you've never heard of. No one called you, Donald. No one wants to give you the prize. You're not going to get it next year. You're not going to get it the year after that. Donald Trump has been talking so much about legacy lately. He very clearly sees the same cognitive and physical decline that we do. And hey, Donald, I know that you think you can cover it up by smearing some goop on your hands or trying to hide the fact that your brain doesn't work anymore, but a Nobel Peace Prize, that's not going to get you to heaven like you'd like. And you're also just not going to get it. For the reasons that I already said, Donald Trump is doing extrajudicial bombings outside the Venezuela and international waters at the same time as he decided, it's just up to me, I'll bomb Iran. And look at what's happening at home. Look at what J.B. Pritzker said about it.
There's a reason why the judge here in federal court said that the administration lacks credibility, and why even the Nobel Prize Committee chair said that the administration lacks integrity. This administration, led by a 34-time convicted felon, is threatening to jail people that are their political opponents. They're making things up to go after people. We're seeing it day in and day out. And the fact that he's made a threat against me, I'm not afraid. I'm going to stand up for the people of my state. And we've got to all stand together because there is truly unconstitutional actions that are coming out of this administration, coming at the states and the people of the United States. And all of us, Democrats and Republicans, need to speak out about it.
There is no peace that Donald Trump has brought. He's just brought a lot of pieces of shit to the White House. Donald Trump's administration is also full of people who are carrying out his attacks on our communities. Again, just because Donald Trump wants to claim that he ended a bunch of wars with countries he can't name for reasons he doesn't understand doesn't mean he's deserving of a prize that he doesn't deserve. Also, let's talk about this deal in the Middle East, hopefully a ceasefire agreement that will stay. Donald Trump took no part in that. I guarantee you, this man has pudding coming out of his ears. Do not let him take credit. Only make sure that people feel the pressure that we continue to put on this administration to hold that ceasefire agreement, because that's what matters. Not Donald Trump's fake victory lap, actually holding it. And actually applying pressure is the reason President Zelenskyy was mocking Donald Trump in this clip right here.
I also want to ask about the Nobel Peace Prize. You have personally witnessed President Trump's commitment to brokering peace across the world. You've seen the kind of pressure that he applies to get it done. Sometimes you've been on the receiving end of that pressure. This year's Nobel Peace Prize went to Venezuela's opposition leader. What was your reaction to that? Do you think that President Trump should be nominated next year? Would you do it?
I think that we will be very happy to nominate President Trump next year Nobel Prize if he will, because only him for today, only him can. So if he will pressure and stop Putin, if he will put Putin at the table of dialogue, negotiations, if President Trump will stop these killings, and I think that ceasefire, sometimes we understand that ceasefire is not, it's not really finishing the war, but between us, we understand that ceasefire, this is the biggest step to the final, to finish the war. But if he will do it, I hope so, and God bless that he can do it. Of course, in this case, we will nominate him, and we will be proud to congratulate him.
Wonderful.
I really don't think anyone knows Trump like Zelenskyy does, to be able to push his buttons and get inside of like whatever is left in his mind to say, oh, maybe Trump will get the Peace Prize if he does what he said he would in ending this war. Got him. Like, that is a perfect drop the mic moment. Again, this is Donald Trump's obsession, and my friend and kind of pseudo colleague now that I'm doing some videos over at the Bulwark on the weekend, which you should check out, Tim Miller made this point, that we are at least a little lucky that Trump's obsession is not with like conquering Greenland anymore, but wanting a Nobel Peace Prize. And Zelenskyy has clearly read that and is trying to hold his feet to the fire. But to say, as Donald Trump is bragging about all of the wars that he ended, just complete fabrication, not true, to say, hey, Donald, the war you most publicly talked about being able to end on day one, it didn't happen. It hasn't happened, and you don't seem to have any interest. Just because you spout off saying that Russia is a paper tiger, a phrase that I think Donald Trump literally learned 30 seconds before having that meeting with Emmanuel Macron, in which he reiterated the idea again and again and again that Russia was a paper tiger. Pause. Real quick, time out. Can we talk about the Truth Social post that Trump made after that meeting with Zelenskyy when he says, I now understand the military and economic conditions on the ground in Ukraine? Are you fucking kidding me? Now you get it? Now you understand? You've talked nonstop for about 4 years about how nothing would have happened if Donald Trump was president, if Mr. Trump, dear leader Trump was president, all would have been fine. And you didn't even know what the all would have been fine was? You don't understand what's happening up until this point right now? This is, again, why I refuse to allow anyone on the right, and I've already heard it, deal maker in chief, Donald Trump, admittedly, is telling us he does not know what's going on with American foreign policy. He has no interest in learning, and he's kind of just bumping into information. Remember that report about Fox News anchors being tasked with like presenting Donald Trump his morning briefings so he would pay attention, them getting like pyrotechnics and like a nice, photo of dear leader and some animations to keep him engaged? He is a literal child. But again, I would like to go back to what has been so overlooked in this conversation about Trump and his Peace Prize. The fact that he is carrying out the same political violence that the right has told us is our fault time after time after time. It is all I ever hear. That my rhetoric saying that Donald Trump is acting like Hitler, something that J.D. Vance, by the way, said first, so fuck off, J.D., with all your complaints and your whining, that it's my fault somehow? That me saying that Charlie Kirk, what did he do for a living? Let me think. He harassed and attacked black women, said that they weren't smart enough to earn their jobs, said that you should be worried if they're working for you, they're working with you, if they're around you, that was kind of his whole shtick, sending his followers, his goons to harass HBCUs. That was the legacy. And you're saying me pointing that out is worse than Donald Trump ripping families apart? Sending his mass thugs, who were former Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, by the way, to disrupt communities? my words, my truth, let's be real, is worse than that? Yeah, I don't think so. Because the intimidation is clear. The objective is clear. And Rachel Maddow made it pretty clear right here.
Just to name a few. If he continues down this list with these charges, how does this end?
I'd turn it back around, actually. I'm interested to know your answer to this, Rev, because, I mean, you've seen government retribution in action in a lot of different ways over the course of your career. And I'm interested to hear what you say. I mean, I think that the most obvious answer is probably the real one, which is that they want to make it either illegal or terrifying to oppose him.
Right.
And so they're putting heads on pikes and putting those pikes up at the edge of the, at the gates to the city to say it's not possible to criticize, let alone oppose this president. If you do, look what we're going to do to you and your family and your career and your livelihood and your reputation. And I think that's all it is. And I think that they don't have anybody holding them back, and so they're going to do it as long as they can and as much as they can. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think they will do it as long as they can, until they realize that it backfires and they're really creating martyrs. I think that they will end up making people like Tish James and others much more powerful and influential than they thought they were. Because every time I've seen them do this in the past, me growing up in the civil rights movement, they ended up making people more significant than they thought they were reducing. But it costs people to do it. It's not a walk through the garden for those that are targeted, and I've been there. It's something you have to be strong enough, and as Tish James said, fearless, but you have to know at the end of it is going to end up helping the cause that you stand for.
I was struck by the fact that I saw a headline about this. I haven't looked into it myself, but I have seen it reported that Tish James had never had a fundraising day in her life in public office like she did when Trump indicted her.
No,
I want to close with this on the Zelenskyy of it all. And again, masterful gambit, sir. Just incredible playing on Trump. I think that we have to point out the fact that Melania Trump, it seems like, is the only person who is a successful negotiator with Putin, because she was able to free 8 children who were living in Russia, who were being held by the Russians, and get them back to their families, right? 5 of those children had been separated at the border. Melania is lauding this as a huge accomplishment. So is Trump. So is all the right. Great job, Melania. Maybe we shouldn't separate families at borders then, if you're going to use this as a way to say that you're doing such a great job. Maybe we acknowledge that. Maybe we make that clear. We're certainly going to, on this show, if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you want to see some of the other fun videos I've been making today with my friends over at The Bulwark, you can click right there. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.